I want to turn now to a very unusual story coming out of Florida. We have there a couple who has sued an IVF clinic for mixing up embryos after they realized that the little girl that they're raising is not their own. Now, the couple suspected the child was not theirs biologically because she appeared, in their words, radically non-Caucasian, which they were. Well, later on, genetic testing indeed confirmed that the child is not theirs. Now, the couple says they deeply love this little girl and they want to raise her, but they also want to find out who her biological parents are. And at the same time, they want to find out what happened to the embryos that they froze. So what can we make of this complicated story? Joining me now to discuss this is Dr. David Prentice. He's president of the Science Alliance for Life and Technology. Dr. Prentice, welcome back to Washington Watch.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be back.
All right, so what do you make of this story? It's really complicated. How in the world does something like this even happen?
Well, and your word is correct, complicated. IVF itself is a complicated situation. First, we're very thankful this little girl is alive. She's a survivor because with IVF, at most about 10% of the embryos that are created during the IVF procedure ever make it to live birth. And so we celebrate the fact that she's alive, but it's really a business. It's an industry. It's not so much a medical practice as a way to make a lot of embryos, a lot of human beings, and then try to get them to the point of birth, but for an exorbitant price. And she's also a survivor from the fact that she was frozen as an embryo and then thawed out, transferred to the mother's womb and gestated to birth, because up to half of the little ones that are frozen don't survive that thawing process. So, yeah, this industry is pretty much unregulated. They make a lot of claims about how they will produce a child for these infertile couples, but then they really don't follow any standard medical practice. There's no regulation, there's no database in terms of following these little ones and their parents as they go through, and it really needs a lot of scrutiny and oversight.
So you're saying there's no protocol in these fertility clinics to ensure that the correct embryo is implanted in the correct mother's womb. That sounds stunning to me, how that could... I mean, here we have a mother who carried this child to term, gave birth to her, but it's not her biological child. I mean, who has the legal right to the child here?
That's another big question. Family law really doesn't address a lot of these issues in terms of IVF. The genetic parents, you would think, have some claim for this child, but they can't even locate them at this point. The mom and dad who gestated and birthed this little cute baby, they obviously have some sort of parental rights, but parental rights aren't really given much consideration in the IVF industry. It's a matter of they make a bunch of embryos, some of them survive to actually be born, and you pay a lot of money to do that. It's not a very life-affirming and certainly not a life-sparing practice.
You know, and in this, I mean, obviously there's the legal question, whose child, the biological parents or the ones who gave birth to her and so forth. You got the legal battle, but there's also ethical and psychological challenges at play here as medical professionals and multiple families deal with the fallout of a lab era.
Yeah, and the way the protocol is supposed to happen is these little embryos are treated with the utmost care. I mean, these are just embryonic stage children. And if you're going to put them in this freezer, then they should be somehow identified and kept track of so that you know where every little embryonic child is and how the disposition takes place. Are they left in the freezer? Did they die in the process? Are they transferred to the womb and so on? But there is no standard protocol, again, and no regulation over this kind of Wild West industry.
Wow. Wow. While I have you, I've only got about a minute left, but before I let you go, one more quick news item. On Friday, a New York jury awarded $2 million to a woman who detransitioned after a double mastectomy at age 16. This is the first successful malpractice lawsuit tied to transgender medical care for a minor. What's your thoughts on it, real quickly?
Well, the first of probably many. I know that there are a lot of other lawsuits that have been filed, but it again highlights what we might as well call medical malpractice. It's not actually evidence-based medicine, it's ideological-based medicine. It doesn't follow the biology. And especially when this happens with minors, with these little kids, it is a tragedy that they have been convinced psychologically that they are not the gender, that they are not the sex, that their chromosomes say they are, and then
Right.
subjected to these terrible mutilating practices. So we hope there'll be a lot more judgments against this industry.
Thank you so much, Dr. David Prentice, president of the Science Alliance for Life and Technology. Fascinating situation. Thank you for joining us.